or Tom Kench. Obviously, with the Seraphine being banned, your options could be slightly limited, but I would still actually not hate it as a first pick for Meech and Eyla.
I mean, it enables so many of these double support item bot lanes, and that's one of the reasons that people really do highly prize this pick.
All right, they got it. Draft advantage early for 100 Thieves.
There you go. So
Side edge.
Udyr we've been seeing just kind of slam down basically every game. What do you think? Do you think it's just actually you can't do anything about this pick in lane? Or what would you be wanting to see teams pick into it more, maybe that we haven't seen?
I think Olaf is a really good answer that you've seen a little bit in LEC. I know Adam played it. I know it's drawn a few bans as well. It forces Udyr to take phase rush, so he's just going to be squishier. And then also, like, in the lane, the early lane can be a little rough because Udyr is just so strong early, but as soon as you burn the phase rush, you're after level 6, you can just run him down with Ghost and a Flash.
Yeah, and for those of you who are wondering how Cloud9 is drafting in a huddle, they're wizards.
They have really long hands.
What's actually happened is this is an exact recording of the draft that took place about 15 minutes ago, and it's being ran back in one-to-one time. So this is how the end of last game to this game can be so fast, because we're doing this while they're doing their tech checks. So they're going through their normal pregame rituals, which for Cloud9 is a huddle. For a lot of teams, it's just making sure they're not lagging, making sure the mouse and keyboard are good. So don't be weirded out when Fudge takes off his headset next time.
All right, so it's going to be Varus Karma, very likely as the bot lane for C9. I've seen a little bit of mid lane Karma, but not expecting it. Should be heavily poke-based duo down on the bot side. Lethality so popular in this season. Nautilus Senna as the duo. It's really interesting. I've seen a little bit of this where the Nautilus farms, but mostly when I see Nautilus Senna, it's more just like the Senna AD style, where they just kind of get a support item on their second base, or first base rather.
Yeah, I think that's what I'd like to see this time. Is it's not like bot lane Senna, who takes a decent amount of farm and gets gold, is that bad. There will I hope to see it will be Nautilus starting with a support item, Senna getting it on the first base, and then Senna killing a number of minions throughout the game. But also, if you've been living under a rock the last few years, you may not be aware that River's very active in the early game. So for this next game, we're going to be tracking River's pre-15-minute ganks. So in Twitch chat, we're setting an over-under for River's ganks this game at 5.5. If you think there's going to be more than 5.5 ganks, spam over. If you think it's going to be under 5.5 ganks, spam under. Licorice, would you take an over or an under for River's pre-15-minute ganks this game?
Well, he just locked in Nocturne, so I think I might have to go with under on that one. I think it looks like they're setting up like a gank bot composition. Like they saw the Varus in the comment, they're like, okay,
Nocturne.
We're not going to be able to beat that lane, so we're going to lock in Nautilus Nocturne, we're going to farm to 6, and then we're just going to press R on bot, and hopefully they both die.
I mean, experimental hexplate with Nocturne is so ridiculously strong. It feels almost impossible to escape the fear tether, right? Because the Q speed up plus all the attack speed you're getting, you are shredding through people. And God forbid you hit into the spell shield and gets even more attack speed on top of the 35% that he got from pressing R with experimental hexplate is really, really strong. Interesting to see, it is going to be that Riven ban drawn, so a little bit of respect shown over the Sniper after yesterday.
Yeah, I think that's just the ban that makes sense. Like, even if you think you can handle the Riven, it's like, why would you give him his most comfortable
Because you have an ego.
Well, like, like, what's a good reason to give him his most comfortable
That is a reason.
That is the reason. I can beat him anyway. This guy sucks.
Why did you walk into 5 people by yourself? Well, I was trying to get a pentakill.
Yeah. It's not a good reason, but it is a reason. So do you want to be the official gank arbiter of River's gank? So you can tell us, you can make the determination on it. What is a gank?
Well, just what are we counting as a gank?
Well, this is up to you.
Like, if he goes into the bush and clears a ward, like, that's like, that's a lot of pressure.
Did the other junglers see him coming and be like, oh no, he is ganking? Because then it counts.
It's up to you. You're the gank arbiter. You hold the control here.
All right, I'm on it.
So it's like maybe there's some ex-Golden Guardians bias here. He like clears Raptors. You're like, well, that's pretty close to mid lane. We're gonna count this.
If he's in alt range, then he's looking mid.
That's a gank. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how many ganks.
I'm gonna take the over if that's the case.
I mean, he was talking pretty positively about him on Waiting Room.
Yeah. He's a really good player.
Oh,
I think,
well, there you go.
We'll have to wait and see what he can do on the Nocturne. I think experimental hexplate is one of the items that I was the most excited about in the offseason, because it's just like an interesting item. Like I'm really trying to figure out like which champions I can build it on. Nocturne is like a real gimme.
Have you tried Trundle top with it?
I have tried Trundle top with it. It's really fun. I mean, Trundle top is just really fun. Like you just go full caveman and you just start hitting them with your club. And sometimes you just like
deeply satisfying about that.
No, it's the best. It's the best.
He also crushes towers, by the way. If you get some grubs and they leave that side lane for 1 second, you're like, I'm sorry guys, you getting quadra killed bot. but I got both their towers.
Yeah, sometimes the Nexus.
yeah. All right, Akali coming through here for Jojo. So that is going to be an Akali mid. We're expecting, of course, Udyr top. And it's going to be a Neeko on the other side for Quid. Something that has been pretty popular. Obviously, Mythics are gone, but we're seeing a lot of Rocket Bell Rush on the Neeko still. It's pretty popular around the world here. So they are really looking heavily for 5v5. And something that a lot of people do love is when you're playing Nocturne, other champions that function coming in from flanks become so hard to answer. Ken and Nocturne, obvious combo, but Neeko functions in a similar way, right? Where the lights get turned off, all of a sudden Neeko's coming out of a brush. That's hard to track.
Yeah.
This is actually a really cool composition for 100 Thieves. They had a cool composition yesterday as well, so shout out to Golden Glue in his second LCS draft all time. Like, being able to turn off the lights and then having Neeko, Gwen, Nautilus fly in, Senna from Narnia can also ult kind of from anywhere on the map and still contribute. If they play it well, could be very clean.
How do you feel about the Gwen Udyr matchup then, right? Obviously, you know, we think of Gwen as a champion that can turn online, you know, really start to outscale. You have Nocturne in your corner, you have Senna potentially helping with the ult. Do you think you can actually ever punch through the Udyr, or is it just like push and move?
I mean, you're definitely gonna be farming for the early game. Udyr is gonna be stronger than you for like mostly until the mid game, and then like once you get 1 or 2 items, you're probably never gonna kill the Udyr just because you don't have any stuns to lock him down. Like, you'll fight him, he'll run away. But I think once you get to that 1 or 2 items,
What a coward.
you'll exactly stand and fight like a man. But Gwen, it'll be strong in the side lane later. I'm a little worried about the ready that when I go on stage, I get in a custom game and I run some 1v1s right before I play the game.
I'm pretty sure you can't do that.
I can't do that. Only talk to your coaches and your team.
Okay, well, if you can't do that,
you don't have internet access, I believe, so you can't be like chatting with other people and stuff. But
Okay.
that's interesting.
yeah, I mean, I did some 1v1s
You might be
with
able
River.
to do 1v1s against your jungler or your
You
mid
could do
lane
it
or
against
whatever.
you could do it against your teammate for sure.
Yeah, I did some against River last year. Usually what would happen is like we'd play the 1v1 and then he'd die and he'd be like, I'm so bad. And I'd be like, yeah, it's fine. You know, like,
He's just
like
pumping you up.
well, if I don't win, then like it's really, you know, it feels really bad for me. And if he wins, he feels really good. And it's like the expected result if I win. So it was fine.
Also, we asked her in Champ Select what the over-under was going to be on River's ganks before 15 minutes. We put the over-under at 5.5, then he locked in Nocturne. So 75% of chat has taken the under. And Licorice, we're counting on you to accurately tell us what a
Give
gank
us a fair
is
fight
and
here,
what is not a gank.
Licorice.
All right,
Okay?
all right, I'll do my best.
We'll be touching back on that for the first 15 minutes.
All right, well, interesting to touch on. So it is going to be farming Nautilus, you know, straight up. They actually both started with support items. Then he sold the support item and bought the Doran's shield. So he'll likely get a support item, I think, after his first base. You know, what I'm expecting, this is generally how it works, is you just take all the farm, obviously, early. And then, you know, the AD ends up, in most cases, taking the range minions because that gives you the extra gold. You get the 20 gold for that, and then you're sharing the extra gold to your support.
Yeah.
And then, obviously, both when you're cashing out, it can be kind of interesting because you can start to give more of that gold over to the Senna. Senna can start moving around, you know, getting souls from other lanes, from your jungle. You can do these kind of other little tricks that can be pretty interesting, but it is going to be fleet Senna. So obviously trying to stay alive here in this bot lane. And checking on the Nautilus runes. He's D-shield. I'm expecting second win. Yes, of course. So he's second win. He's biscuits. He's D-shield. So he's just trying not to die.
Yeah. And I mean, top lane looking rough early, bot lane looking rough early. I think this is pretty expected when you look at these drafts.
What does Sniper have to do, like, right now in this lane? He's already down at 60%
Hide.
health.
I mean, don't get dove. You know, like when you're in these losing matchups, it's all about catching the wave in a healthy place and then being able to bounce it back, ideally. If he catches the wave healthy and then he has to TP back to push it back in, that's fine. But it's just like he cannot get dove early or it's really bad.
So in that case, like, you want to be able to get a few early CS, but ultimately you're kind of just preserving your health as a resource and letting Fudge kind of do whatever he wants here.
Yeah, I mean, you get what you can, right? Like, like no one's ever going to punish you perfectly, and you just like have to play it by ear and get what you think you can. But if you drop too low, then bad things are going to happen.
I think one of the toughest things too when you're playing an Udyr is when he's sitting on the full ulti bar, like he can just ulti Phoenix you and then you're slowed and it's chasing you down. So it's like you step up, you're thinking, oh, I can just get this one CS and then I can dash back. Well, that's going to chase you and punish you really, really heavily. So you have to be very certain on which CS you can take and which you can't.
Yeah, no, Udyr can be really scary in that lane phase.
I think bot lane's going about as we would have expected as well. That's a pretty early plate, 3 minutes already, but
Pretty early, yeah.
I think that's the matchup with how it's playing out. I saw early on Vulcan was actually weaving a few autos into Meech without getting traded back on, so he's playing very well on the Karma early, and Berserker and Vulcan are off to the races.
And a lot of times in these melee farming matchups, when it's Senna plus a melee that's farming, the double range is just harassing the melee every time they step forward to actually get any CS. But the hook in on a Berserker. We'll see what Meech Meech can get done here. He's getting actually chunked down really low.
Nice.
Vulcan in some trouble as well. Is going to drop the Ignite here onto Meech. But a decent trade. We'll see if Meech can actually heal back up from this. Of course, he has Fleet, he has a Biscuit, he has his Q heals, and River's coming down.
It's on the way.
All right, we'll see River looking for the wraparound. C9 really want to reset this. They haven't spotted River, and this could potentially be a kill onto Vulcan, but Vulcan going to be able to speed himself up with the shield and walk out.
That's a gank, right?
That's a gank. That's a gank.
Okay, that's one.
Count it, 1. He's on the board.
Yeah,
Look
I
at
mean,
that
he's on a good
Nocturne
pace.
pressure. What other champion could have put on pressure like that?
any champion.
It didn't do anything.
Rocket Jungle, you know?
Rocket Jungle could have
Turn out a little silence.
So hold on, did that gank do anything? Like, I guess it did
Put
force
the
them to
fear of
recall.
River into
It
them.
forced them
But
off the
weren't they
wave.
going to recall anyway?
I mean, I think it started with the hook by Eyla, which was a really good hook. It
Yeah.
like relieved a lot of pressure off them. And I think that like had they been able to keep hitting the wave, they might have been able to push in the wave before they based. So he basically stopped them from getting a better recall.
Okay.
I will say this is pretty brutal though. When you're looking like, yes, there is, you know, the farm is evening out a little bit, but Berserker's going to catch so much of this farm, and you know, Meech is down to heal. Yes, you trade for the Ignite, but the Ignite is the shorter cooldown, so that is pretty scary. And Blaber now looking up towards top lane. There's the stun onto Sniper.
I think he's dead.
Dash in, and Sniper's got nowhere to go. He's got the Ghost, but it's not going to create enough space. River is here, but River could be in trouble as well. He's just looking to try to fight this out. We'll see if he can make it happen, but it's not going to be enough. He's got to flash out of there, but he's flashing to the wrong side of the map. Quid up to the top lane trying to help, but he's going to be in trouble as well, potentially, as Fudge likes his odds in this fight. He's just pushing forward, and Quid is going to have to flash now. He could actually potentially die if the Ghost is still there. The ulti Phoenix does expire. Fudge gets out, but that is absolute disaster for 100 Thieves on the top lane.
Huge play for C9, but was that a gank?
That was a gank. I was gonna say.
Okay, I
Very
don't like the
important
sound
to
of
jump
that.
in there.
Yeah, the sound, it's a little too cheery for what happened, but that's the game.
Maybe he heard about the pull, you know? He had to get in there.
And he's just trying to back his boy up, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough spot, right? Sniper gets caught. It is always the risk, you know, Ghost scales so well in the team fights, but hard in lane sometimes to get out of these ganks.
Yeah, no, it can be really hard. I mean, you can see the ward wasn't quite in the bush. I'm not sure why that happened, but I mean, if it was in the bush, he would have had enough time to react, so. And then River comes in, tries to help out. He might have been able to run away here. He just like ran left and flash, but decided to try to fight with Quid on the way, and it just didn't work out.
Possibly if he moves down, it also gives him a little bit more time, like down and continuing to fight. And then at the end of it, it's also just a little bit of insult to injury.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, and now 100 Thieves going to be starting up the grubs here. So at least looking to try to get that, but Fudge obviously pushing heavily on top side. You can see Sniper getting chunked out. When you get behind, it's so miserable in some of these tank matchups where Udyr can just run at you. He has the full cowl completed. Of course, on the other side, they are taking this dragon, so Jojo going to be helping Blaber finish that up.
Yeah, and I like that you're kind of getting what you can, but I also think this is really big for C9, because what are 3 grubs really going to do when you're losing every lane? Like, they're not getting turret damage off to actually get this buff to matter.
At the very least, it is pretty good golden experience, right? So it's actually worth the time to take if you
Get to 6.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would also say that Blaber is probably prioritizing the dragon, at least partly because
some
he
trouble
has-
here, potentially. But going to be able to push them out. Meech now in trouble. The W on the wall from Blaber. Spear through the heart. Meech goes down. I'm not sure if his heal was quite up. I couldn't tell if it had come back up. It looked close, but didn't have it either way. Does go down, and Blaber gets the second kill.
Yeah,
Sorry to
I mean,
interrupt you
like
there.
I was saying, no worries. I think Blaber chose to prioritize the dragon partly because his bot lane is this Varus Karma. He wants to be playing aggressive around them, and you saw exactly what happened when his jungle, when he's there, they know River's topside because they get the notification that the grubs have been slain, and then he's just there ready to punish bot lane.
Yeah. Was that a gank? River was kind of close?
No.
Okay.
Not a gank. No
Not a
ganks.
gank.
Don't even think about it, production. I see you back there. But it's also worth noting like how little combat power Meech and Eyla have. Like, look at their buys, right? Because we go back, Eyla gets the support item on purchase, he buys a tier. You're already absolutely pounded in this lane, and your only goal to spend on a tier and an extra support item. It's, you know, Swifty boots on the other side. Sure, they do make sense. You can dodge out on skill shots and whatnot, but like, there's just no power from this bot lane right now, and there's not going to be for a really long time.
No, it doesn't. If I'm sniper here and I press tab, I'm not feeling good. You know, you look at
You
those
don't press
items.
tab again.
Yeah,
Close your eyes.
You focus on your lane. You focus on what you can do. You know, you do your best.
Yeah, I think trying to do something as well is just going to get you into more trouble. You really have to wait a pretty long time for 100 Thieves here, and it might look like they're really inactive or that they should try and do something, but like with what the current game state is, already down 2,000 gold, already getting pushed in, they kind of just have to me, they have to wait until they get items or Cloud9 do something really crazy.
I kind of want to see where the first ulti is going to come from River, because on Nocturne, first ult already feels so important. It kind of sets the pace for your game, but it's so hard now when all your lanes are losing. But, you know, it really is that emphasis on it, because if he can't make anything happen, who can?
Yeah, no, it's a really tough game for River at this point, because Blaber's playing so heavily into the bot side. You're not going to be able to get off like a 3v2 gank, which is really like the hope with this team comp.
Yeah, I just go bot, like flip it, press Nautilus ult on someone and go in. And ideally, you're just like putting really shallow wards as solo lanes. And if you see Blaber anywhere, you can just have a little bit of confidence. Because as you say, if it is a 3v3, they lose.
You can see, though, 4 or 5 wards from Cloud9 in the bot side jungle. There's also a ward up in top in that tri-brush.
They're too good. They know the spots.
They've kind of warded everywhere. So the only thing I feel like you can do in these Doom situations is you base and you walk down a lane and you do a lane gank basically with the ulti. But it's a really low kind of estimated value gank here. And even them trying to clear these out, they still miss that 1 ward. So Cloud9 just has to play safe, and the reality is, even if you go for that gank, if Blaber's behind him, you're going to lose the 3v3.
Yeah, I mean, Cloud9's doing really well. They saw that River was bot side on the Krugs. They knew they were in threat of getting ganked soon, so they just based, you know? They're going to catch the wave under their tower. They're totally safe. Vulcan's probably going to go through mid, get some vision, and, you know, it's just a clean game from Cloud9 so far.
This Cloud9 team, we were talking yesterday, has 3 former MVPs. And I asked you on Waiting Room who the best player on Cloud9
Oh, we're
was.
back to this.
We're not back on that yet,
Okay.
but we'll get to that. We'll get to that later. They're a super team. So like,
You're locked in here. He's going to bully you.
you actually made a list for us of historic LCS super teams to try to just look back of like how likely is it that a super team ends up finding massive success? Because I think when you see the roster, everyone just thinks, oh yeah, they're going to win, but it doesn't always work out like that.
Do you guys consider this a traditional super team, though? Because the reality is, it's like, okay, they kept 3 of their normal pieces. Vulcan has played with C9 and with Jojo. So it's like there's already a lot of pieces that have worked together here. So it doesn't feel like you're just slamming together 5 random good people and being like, all right, go win, guys.
I mean, I would say that's probably like the version of the super team that doesn't work as often.
Yep.
But I think I would qualify it as one. I think like anytime you build a roster that's just like
Pretty super.
I mean, like 5 really good players that people think is like solid lock for first, like that's a super team, you know?
All right, fair enough. You're the gank arbiter and you're also the super team arbiter.
Yeah.
So decision made, ding, super team won. Put it up on the board. All right, Blaber going to be able to take away the grubs here. So obviously they gave those first 3 grubs up on top side. So both teams going to end up with 3. Sniper getting chased down. Don't expect this to mount to too much, but Fudge is going to get a nice trade and just back off. Does already have, I believe it's the Hollow Radiance. Yep, Hollow Radiance is completed there. That's just basically the magic resist Sunfire Cape, right? It does feel really strong. I don't know how you felt about this item, but it just felt straight up better than Sunfire to me because of that little detonation on it. Nice root though there over onto Jojo. Catches him on the E, bouncing back. Not going to amount to much though, as there's not a lot of oomph behind that ulti. And with Blaber here to cover, there's no way that River can actually commit in. So at the end of the day, you get an ult for a little bit of chunk of health, but that's it.
Was a gank, right?
That was a gank.
Yeah, that's a gank. That's definitely a gank.
All right, Vulcan flashing in. The tether does land. River in trouble. Going to flash out, but it's not going to be enough. The ulti from Senna trying to save him, and now Eyla has arrived with the TP. We'll see if that's going to be enough. Blaber getting low, but no one able to actually knock him down inside the Crescent Guard. He survives. Berserker is here, and now Fudge TPing in as well. We'll look to chase him down. The ulti ram going to get popped. Doesn't use the ghost, will just be the dragon, but Cloud9 lose no one and pushing 100 Thieves out of that jungle. That Xin ulti got insane value.
It's just cursed, man. Everything River tries to do ends up turning against him. I could see why he went mid without using ult there, because he was hoping to burn a summoner spell so that his next ult would have a chance of working, but it exposes him. Blaber just catches him in the jungle again to clean him up. Blaber's having a great game once again. He has the tools to do so with how his lanes are performing, but 2 Drakes, 3,000 gold, Cloud9 are in control.
Absolutely. It's about 1,000 gold advantage comparing Berserker to Eyla. So that's kind of how you have to look, as most of the farm obviously going there. It's pretty split. Obviously, the Senna has more gold than the Karma, so there's something to be said there, but still, Berserker and Vulcan in a really strong spot, and Cloud9 looking fully in control here as the items are starting to come through. You can see obviously completed item for Fudge, completed item for Jojo, the Ghost Blade done as well for Berserker.
Yeah, I think you're going to see Cloud9 start to pick up pretty heavily here. I mean, Blaber's probably going to clear a few camps. They're going to play for the objective, but now that they're in the 1-3-1 setup, Akali's going to get prio over Neeko every wave. The Udyr-Gwen matchup is actually fairly close right now, with Gwen having completed 1 item. but it's really hard to do anything into the Udyr. You know, like I don't think you're going to be able to kill him with gank. So Cloud9 is just going to have a really strong map state for the next few minutes.
So when you're playing in Sniper's position in this, and you're saying it's really hard to kill him, but at what point do you say, you know what, I kind of just have to flip it and try to do something because we're going to lose the game if I play slow? Like, are we at that point where it's desperation time, or do you still think there's a chance to play normally and win?
I mean, you can definitely look for ganks. Like, if Quid can clear a wave and then shadow behind you bot, and River can come too, then you can like look for him, look for a tower dive, try to take the tower. But I just think, like, the way the champions interact, he's just not going to get a lot done. Like, he can dash in with his EQ over and over. He'll probably just lose the trade. So it is hard for Sniper. But the Rift Herald is being started up here.
Yeah, Quid approaching here. Does have his ulti back now. River in the area as well with his ult available. They're going to TP in, so they're going to try to make their stand now. The Nocturne ult going to get popped. We'll see if they go in. It's in onto Vulcan. They're looking to try to knock him down, but it's River that's in more trouble. Blaber is just chopping him down. And that's going to be another kill. And now it's going to be a reset on the Herald. Jojo in trouble. Sniper in the back line. Maybe able to get one kill. No, couldn't actually connect with the ulti. And it's Blaber that gets another. It's 100 Thieves set running with their tail between their legs. Can't get anything in back-to-back team fights.
Yeah, that's really rough. I mean, I understand that 100 Thieves wants to fight because they just feel like they're falling further and further behind with the map state. But when you're Nocturne and you feel forced to engage on the Karma, it's probably just not going to be a good fight. And I think Jojo did a really good job of making a lot of space in the front line for his back line to deal with the Nocturne.
And watching this one more time, you can see Cloud9 was trying to pick up the pace a little bit. They're just forcing the Herald, and 100 Thieves does Desperation come in a little bit, thinking maybe they can teleport in and make something happen. But yeah, as you mentioned, River tries to fly on Vulcan. It's not there. Jojo plays on the margins of this fight so well, getting just enough damage at the end there, which gets them low enough for Blaber to fly in for multiple kills at the end. It's looking rough for 100 Thieves.
Yeah, it's tough, and kind of insult to injury there for Sniper as he whiffed on 2 of his ultis, so couldn't actually finish off Jojo. I mean, Blaber's just going crazy. If you're going to hard engage into his backline, he's going to fight through you. He's now on 5 kills, ridiculously strong at this point. And to make matters worse, you're jumping on the Karma, who has Celestial Opposition, which is kind of that little shield wall thing when you actually do go in. It's 25% damage reduction. It's basically the new Crown, obviously a weaker version of that, but going to be even harder to actually burst him down. Cloud9 well and truly in the driver's seat now. 2 dragons in their favor. The Grubs even 7 kills to 0 for 100 Thieves, and it is already approaching that 5K gold lead.
So who's the best player on C9?
Azael?
Yeah,
I'm gonna say.
As someone who has played on C9, I think you should answer first.
Oh.
I'm gonna say Blaber.
It's paused.
Okay, I understand. Yeah,
Like, wow, this crowd really hates Blaber.
top-
Are just so required to have heavy farm. When I think of Blaber, I think of Olaf. Olaf is not someone that can actually succeed without getting a ton of farm. We are going to be getting back into game here. Seeing the ready checks come through, we are unpaused as Blaber talking about him, and he's going to be looking to chase in after him. It's going to be the defensive ult, but they're going to try to turn around on Vulcan. Vulcan gets knocked down immediately, but Jojo is here, and now 100 Thieves likely has to run. Jojo, though, sent running by that ulti from Eyla, and now it's Blaber trying to get out. Looks like he will be able to do it. A kill for 100 Thieves. They're on the board as they do knock down Vulcan, but it's just going to be the 1 kill, and it is only the support.
Well, that snuck up on us. I did not realize we were that close to a big fight in the bottom lane, but that's the first positive thing there for 100 Thieves.
Yeah, it looks like a bit of an overstep from the C9 bot lane. They're just trying to pressure a little too hard. They probably didn't know that Quid was moving down, and he was able to sneak in there during the Nocturne ult. That was like the Nocturne Neeko combo we were talking about. Unfortunately, only netted them 1 kill there, but...
Oh, this is really interesting. So Eyla went Bloodsong. So I didn't expect that. So it does have the exposed weakness, so it is the increased damage. So he's kind of using it as like an even shroud, I guess, as we're going to see the Herald hopped into end the charge from Vulcan. Eyla now in trouble. It's going to get potentially burst down. The Senna ulti is there, but it's not nearly enough. And now River will be pushed back. You do get that Spellblade on it. You do get the exposed weakness on it. But I was expecting them to go more of those tank supports. Bash it in and knocking him down, but Blaber will fall. And that is a big shutdown going the way of River. That should have been like a 1K or a 950
It's 950 to River.
Yeah, so that's a lot of gold injected into him. Sniper will be pushed back. Not going to be much more. It is the trade of kills and the tower for Cloud9, but a big shutdown going the way of 100 Thieves.
I mean, clearly Cloud9 feeling extremely powerful right now, but that is definitely an overstep for Blaber. When you have a bounty that big, it's not worth it to trade kills at that juncture, but that doesn't put 100 Thieves in much better of a position.
Yeah, now going to TP in, try to defend him here as Quid's looking to turn this round, does catch Vulcan there for the wave. Quid turns it around, gets the kill. It's a solo at the end of the day as Eyla came in to defend him. The rest of Cloud9 had to bail it out. So now 3 kills, very quickly turning around here for Sniper as he's going to try to get aggressive potentially. But look at the slows from the ulti Phoenix there, plus his 50 boots, goes into Ram, gets the move speed. Very difficult, as you were saying, Licorice, to actually lock this guy down. Yeah,
no, the Gwen is just like, at some point he'll start getting priled because he'll win the trades, but you're never running down the Udyr or killing him without any CC.
It's going to be tough. Blaber, though, back on the map, has that Shojin, and you can see a little spell weaving there with it as it stacks up. Does more and more damage. Can be pretty powerful. Second item has come through for Berserker now, so went for the Edge Knight, a little bit more of that defensive option. Can help to make it a lot more, safe against something like a Nautilus. If they can't poke it off, you can't just start a fight with a Nautilus ult, things like that. But a lot of time, doesn't it kind of just block the Nocturne ult? I think it just blocks the Nocturne ult. You don't actually get the lights turned off, and then it's used, which is like of arguable levels of usefulness. I generally don't like building Edge Knight when I'm playing against Nocturne because it's like, yeah, you can see, but you're still going to take the full damage and everything. Yeah.
You can, if it's just going to randomly happen in the team fight, though, being able to communicate to your
eyes for the team.
Kind of, right? Because a lot of times on stage, you're like trying to peek at other people's monitors to see what's happening during a Nocturne ult. You can just kind of see, fire your arrows with no fear. I think it's actually a decent use of it.
Oh, Crypt Bloom coming through for Quid. How do you feel about this item? It seems like pretty niche. I know the stats on it are quite good. It's kind of, I don't know, Void Staff Junior, but it also has the healing proc from it.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of people are opting into it these days. I haven't really played a lot of mages, so I can't speak too much to it. But it seems like a strong, somewhat utility, but also doing a lot of damage. Like, it just does a lot of random things, so...
The stats are really good.
Yeah, no, it seems like a good item.
Yeah, I'm a bit of a win rate slave. I haven't yet to build them myself, but it always has a high win rate. So I'm like, this item's got to be good, and I think it's because it has a little bit of everything, so it's not going to feel super powerful, which oftentimes those items end up releasing a little strong, because when you're playtesting it without data, you're like, I don't know if it feels good enough, but then once you see the win rate, you realize it's really strong.
Yeah, looks like Cloud9's going to play really aggressive here, and Blaber's going in on the Nautilus.
Blaber's going in, the ulti's going to be popped, the TP's coming in to respond. Can they actually lock him down and burst him down as Sniper chasing him? And it looks like Blaber's going to be gone, and now Fudge going to get hooked in. They're all turning onto the Udyr, but they have enough damage to get him. Now Quid going forward, does get the knock up onto Jojo. He's in the Shroud. He does get 1 kill, and he's going to E out to safety. Cloud9 holding on for now, but they're down a man. It is 2 kills to 1 there. 400 Thieves, who seems to have come alive over these last couple of minutes. It was so one-sided for Cloud9, and now 100 Thieves fighting some good fights.
Yeah, I mean, that was a really important pick from them. Blaber overstepped a little bit. C9 was setting up out of base to pressure the top side of the map. They were pinging top tower. They were pinging Baron. So it looked like they were about to make a big play, and being able to pick Blaber there is going to slow them down a ton.
And a timely comment there. This is not quite the same, but a little similar to the game yesterday. 100 Thieves was behind early against TL, but then won some clutch team fights and managed to outscale. And Blaber is the one who flies in there. It gets turned around on him. His team isn't necessarily that close. And when a fight operates like this, the Senna Nautilus actually become fairly strong. They have more sustain throughout the fight. They can pump the CC out. Getting a 2-for-1 is just incredibly beneficial for a team that was down over 5,000 gold before that fight.
Yeah, it's a big one. Cloud9 going to be able to take down that tier 1. We have the results from the poll. Twitch chat has officially decreed Berserker is the best player on Cloud9. Though many in chat say Sneaky was robbed.
I would say the timing of these have been incredibly cursed. So when we do the river gank counter,
he killed a tower.
He has 3 failed. Our conversation ran short before Berserker. None of us ever mentioned Berserker, but I was going to say before we got back into the game, literally, if you just say Berserker's the best player in the LCS, a lot of people will be like, oh yeah, I agree. So
used to be core that everyone said that about.
I don't disagree with Twitch chat for Berserker.
Times have changed.
That's true. Do you realize that Blaber and Core JJ are the 2 most tenured players within their team still in the LCS? Core JJ's been with Team Liquid since 2019, and Blaber's been with Cloud9.
With their org.
With their specific org, yeah. And Blaber, ever since, when was his first game? Was it even 2017 or was it 2018?
I think he played a little bit in 2017, I think as a sub. I want to say it was the 2017.
I think
was it 2017 or 2018?
I think it was 2018.
Jarvan game at Worlds.
Yeah,
it was 2018. That was the first time Blaber played.
Okay, yeah.
Still incredible longevity within the same org.
Yeah, he's been there for a long time, and we've had obviously some players. Turtle obviously has been around the longest as far as people in the league, but
Yeah, 100 Thieves are actually in a pretty good spot right now. You can see they actually have vision control, so Cloud9's not going to be able to make any really aggressive plays for the next bit. Although I would guess that Cloud9, they're just going to base, make sure that they get some vision on the Baron so that 100 Thieves isn't going to sneak it away, and then they're just going to play for that Dragon Soul.
Exactly. I think that's the big concern. Udyr's already kind of a brick wall, and then you give him an Ocean Soul. That is going to be really problematic, as Fudge will push Quid back.
So what do you think the best steps 100 Thieves can take here are to get a hope at the Soul?
I mean, either if you want to play for Soul, like there's two arguments. It's either like give Soul, try to rush Baron, which like I don't know that I love it here, but if you're gonna try to play to deny the Soul, you need Neeko to get a good position on the flank.
Okay.
So you're gonna want Neeko to find some kind of position himself, or you're gonna want to find some kind of flank ward through Eyla, so that Neeko can get behind them. You Nocturne ult, Neeko comes in, gets a big ult, and you kill them all.
And then I suppose the easier question with 40 seconds here: what does the winning team do to get Soul? Because that's something that's more accomplishable.
I mean, if you sweep the wards well and you find Neeko, or you engage first.
And a pick on Nautilus, as they are going to push him back. Eyla did not use his ulti there, so he held onto it. It was a good route from Meech, but continue.
Yeah, I mean, basically, you want to engage first, or you want to find Neeko and have someone mark him, because if Neeko doesn't get in the fight...
On a pink ward, by the way. So that's not going to work. But this is, I feel like the trade Baron for Soul almost never works, because you can just leave one person on Dragon hitting the Dragon while the other 4 people kind of delay.
Yeah.
But it's desperate times, call for desperate measures. And it looks like that's what 100 Thieves are going to try to do. I don't expect it to work, but they're going to be going for it. Jojo is up here. He did use his Shroud, so we'll see if there's any sort of a look for a turn. But Blaber's soloing the Dragon, so you got to start this. We got to do something right now, or you're just giving Soul uncontested. And it looks like that is going to be what 100 Thieves do at the end of the day, is Soul for nothing, because C9 are just going to be prodding around here, and Blaber will secure it.
Ayla would have had to flash ult someone to make that work, but it's a total flip, because you don't know that Blaber's going to greed this Drake.
Yeah, I mean, I think... Oh, it started to look a little scary at the end, but Blaber does secure it. I think C9 did a really good job of closing them out there.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to start the Baron with Jojo in that great flank position up above you, so they were trying to bait C9 in. Jojo ends up seeing they're not on it, and you can engage on Udyr. It's not going to do anything, and like C9 just had a really clean play there.
I also think one of the biggest weaknesses of Senna teams is Baron damage. The Gwen would help kill it a little faster, but the Senna teams definitely take Baron very slowly.
Who is licorice? In math, my solution. In history, my king. In art, my canvas. In science, my oxygen. In geography, my world.
Wow. Is this the real LCS stats, guys?
Yes,
It actually is.
Wow.
Yeah.
I feel honored.
Yeah.
He is a very active
That's
demon on Twitter.
turns out, new stat. Your favorite player. I think we can chalk that one up. But Cloud9 now in full control here. They have the Soul, they have the gold lead. Looks like they're just going to start playing towards that top side. You can see them starting to get vision around there. Blaber hovering in the area. They want to be able to at least threaten Baron, but they do have a very slow one, so I think it's much more about playing through sides, and maybe they get a pick to go to the Baron, but I don't know. How do you feel about their start and turn?
I think that they're probably going to look to take vision control. They're going to like play it pretty slow, push top, push mid, take the control, and then look to poke them off with the Varus. I mean, they could start it. They're not going to take a ton of damage with the Karma Shields, but I think ideally they're just going to want to fight them.
Yeah, it's a good point, right? Karma Shields, Ocean Soul as well. Does make it very, very easy to do. Ayla is on the run. Blaber still chasing. The TP is going to come in here.
Blaber
so they're just going to continue for it. Ayla has got to be committing his flash, or I think he potentially is going to go down.
That was a nice Nautilus hook to get out of there.
Yeah, the angle there was really hard to fly.
I really like that.
Well done by Ayla. Does survive. Blaber not overcommitting. They do at least get that Senna ulti out, but now onto the Baron here with Fudge taking up with the Ocean Soul. They're just not going to lose any health, so even if it goes down slowly, it is going to be going down very steadily.
Yeah, I think they're going to be looking for a turn here as well. Jojo's never going to enter the pit. Like, he's always going to be a threat on the flank.
Yeah, I think the really interesting thing here is what they're going to do about Nocturne ult. Like, I mean, I guess Nocturne ulted, so they're just going to run away.
There's the Nocturne ult. He's going to be going in onto Blaber, but Blaber turns it around on River. River in trouble. Fudge in the back line there as well. As you can see, the Neeko ult going to get popped, but it's going to miss on Everett, and Jojo's in the back line. He knocks him down. It's a triple for Jojo, as the execution sentence has been passed by Jojopyun on the 100 Thieves. What a fight by him. He had the flank. He had 16. He comes away with the big triple, and Vulcan now on the chase. If you played against Karma Top, you have experienced this pain before. And now the jungler gets to experience the misery that every top laner knows.
Yeah. Vulcan got to have a little bit of fun at the end of the play there.
I think beyond anything in that fight, it just looked really cool. Like, Cloud9, their way of dealing with the Nocturne ultimate was to back out of there. I think Blaber took a surprising amount of damage from Sniper's Gwen, but then ultimately it was just Jojo on the backside of the fight making everything happen. Let's take a look at it one more time.
Yeah, they don't have any vision, so River feels really pressured. He's going to walk in here. He Nocturne ult, so he's going to not get bursted, or he can get in there. And then now that he's used it, he feels like he has to go in, and Cloud9 just clean up the fight.
Yeah, but you can see there, Sniper really bursts Blaber down, makes him flash away, but then once all the CC is used, Jojo just perfectly executes 3 people.
Man, yeah. Jojo played that so well, by the way. He goes in on the Quid, forces the ult defensively, backs out in the Shroud, avoiding the ult, then hits his E. Quid flashes with the E onto him, delivering him into everyone. So he gets a 3-man Q into the auto, into the perfect execution, the triple kill there. So a little bit of an assist from Quid, but really well played by Jojo on the flank. Cloud9 looking clinical as it's Sniper up in the top lane, trying to scrape together a little bit of gold for the team. But Cloud9 looking like they're on the march here, trying to close in to take their second win of the split.
Yeah, I mean, I would have actually liked to see Sniper keep pushing here. I think that the best thing you can do is to just pressure C9. Although he's going for the TP flank, so looks like they'll probably be going into the bot lane here.
Yeah, the lights get turned off, but are they even going to use the Nocturne ult just on Blaber again? And Blaber likes his odds in this fight. He turns on River. River gets low already, but in goes Eyla, and there's the Neeko ult, but it's only on Fudge.
Sniper,
everyone on under.
Yeah, Berserker's going down.
Low. Sniper not going to be able to kill him. It looks like he misses the ulti. It's a double kill on the other side, and it's a clean ace for Cloud9. Even if you got Berserker, it wouldn't have meant much. Cloud9, too good, too coordinated, too dominant in this week number 1, and they're going to end it 2-0.
Just a 5-0 at the end, a fitting finish for Cloud9. They are the super team coming into the spring split here, yet to lose.
Jojo's letting his team do all the work. I appreciate that.
6:05 for Jojo on the Akali. Some really clean plays towards the last few fights. Farmed it out well. He was the one lane that wasn't necessarily winning at the start of it because of the matchup, but he definitely managed to win the game.
I mean, Cloud9 as a whole looking really, really good. You know, things to criticize seem few and far between across these couple games. Maybe getting a little bit over-aggressive at times and when they already had that lead, but they were playing from such a position of power, it always felt like they were getting more out of these exchanges.
Yeah, I mean, it was a really clean game. Felt like Blaber had a few moments where he engaged a little bit too far ahead of his team, but apart from that, like a really solid game. They're playing really well together as a team and just seem really hard to beat.
So you were too impartial to give us the best player, but you are going to have us give